It's Mom and Pop Video Shop.
Welcome to Mom and Pop Video Shop, here with another cool. We should call this like a series name, Tyson. Like Indie Spotlight. That seems very generic and something that everyone else does. But
people that we've conned into hanging out.
Yeah,
with
that's
us.
true. Yeah, suckers who fell for the invite. Yes, that's what we'll call it.
Indie suckers.
Indie
Spotlight. How about
suckers
that?
who
Indie
fell.
suckers, I like it.
It's ISS.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But name it CIS. Acronym CIS. Spotlight Indie Suckers.
Oh, dude, I like that. All right. Spotlight Indie Suckers. Okay, except you're not a sucker. You're Ken Anthony. We have Ken Anthony here, actor, artist. You do music too, right? Was that something I saw in your...
Music, artist, writer, a little bit of everything. Yeah.
A Renaissance man. That is what you are. Not like the guys in the Danny DeVito movie from the 90s, if you remember that one. No. This is a modern Renaissance man. So yeah,
Truth above all, to thine own self be true.
Oh, wow. Really? You're quoting it?
Hey,
that's what Google does for you.
Okay.
Ken ain't the only Renaissance man on this show today. Okay.
Okay. Well, that you are a vet, so I figured it had a military angle to it. So you probably all right. All right, so Ken, welcome to Mom and Pop Video Shop. Anybody that's new to the channel, I am Joel. I'm actually not sans Tyson for once. This is like the first interview Tyson's joined me for in forever.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a minute.
while.
It's almost like I had a life outside the shop.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, or Ken could feel honored that you were like, oh no, I'll show up for Ken.
I like that. I like it. We're gonna work with that one. That's what we're going.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. All right, so Ken, first of all, I think I came about finding you because we're buddies with Joel Wynkoop. Exactly. And he's been on the show a couple times. I've gotten to know him over the years at cons and different things. Super awesome guy. Love Kathy, his wife. And I don't know if it was like one of those things where just you should be friends with this person too. And I saw that you were like, oh, okay, he's connected to Wynkoop, and I like studio shows. I'm like, all right, cool. So I reached out, and again, sucker, you accepted.
I'm trying not to, but
I know you're like, I don't know. This guy's a little sketchy. Well, actually, my little, I think my Facebook image is like me when I'm like 1978 or 9 or something with my cousin watching TV. I just, I don't know. I was like, actually, we've had a lot of like filmmakers specifically, but I'd also like to get actors on, effects artists in general. I am all about anything indie. I love it. I love micro-budget. I love zero budget. I love, as people are probably really tired of listening, who actually watch these things are tired of hearing, I love shot on video stuff from like the 80s and 90s, like shot on VHS. I dig it all, man. So, Ken, for those that don't know, if there is anyone out there that doesn't, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background in indie filmmaking and acting and all that.
Yeah, no problem. So actually, Joel is the first one that I did any indie film with. So it's kind of cool that was the link. I was already doing comic books, my own indie comic books through Artistic License Studios. I started, and every time I see Joel at the convention, I would say, "Hey, listen, it'd be interesting to get in something, just even if it's my foot in there, just to say, hey, listen, it was me. Look, freeze it, blow it up. That's me." And then kind of snowball from there. So the first thing I did with him was Survivors of Remit for a Christian anthology, actually, and then. From that point on, it just kind of built, extra roles, lead, supporting, writing my own stuff, which the writing part was kind of natural because I was already doing it for comic books anyway. So, and then just building off of that.
Cool. So, you said the first movie was called, what was it called? Survivors of?
Remake, how we pronounce it.
Okay.
RIMEC, I believe.
Well, here's the thing. I was trying to go through your filmography, dude, and you've got like 114 credits.
Just a little bit. Don't tell them.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, you've worked with, how many times ballpark have you worked with Wynkoop?
He's been in a couple of mine. I've been in a couple of years. I'll probably say 8, 9, something like that. Maybe a little bit more.
Wow, that's cool. Cool. And so as you worked with him, so did you just start looking up, like other people found you because they saw you in his stuff, or was it like you saw the people were posting like, hey, I'm looking for a tall dude who can I don't know, play whatever, and you're like, I want to try it?
Kind of a combination. His was the first one, so that kind of got me started. But then there's a whole community, a whole network. So then you kind of start hearing about different things happening. People start giving you advice. Check here, check there. I've got something going. I like the way you carry yourself. And it kind of builds from there. And then I've been blessed. I've been able to pass them on to other folk too. So for me, really, like that was the first one with him. And then I don't remember the order that came in after that, but it's usually extra roles. You go to a film meeting, hey, I need somebody for this film or this short or whatever, get into that, and just kind of builds from that.
Okay. What are some of, I mean, obviously I'm not putting you on the spot here to like, if you don't mention something, it doesn't mean you didn't like it, but what are some of your favorite experiences as far as working on different independent films?
Really the networking, the meeting folk is my favorite part of it, outside of the acting itself.
Okay.
But outside of that is you get used to certain directors and certain styles and learning certain things. Like I've got some friends who are directors, they'll say, hey, listen, I want you to be a part of this, but also you might help with crew, which I'm not a crew person at all. But they'll say, hey, listen, can you do sound? Okay, fine. As long as you have the equipment, I'll hold the boom, make sure it's at the right place, not in the camera, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So the filmmaking as a whole is fun. My favorite part though is like I get to meet new people, give them some advice sometimes. Like for instance, one of my I'll say tricks that I talk to people about is get into the pictures when you can. When you do cast pictures, not doing behind the scenes all the time. Reason being is that it gives you an easy way to access that person. Hey, listen, remember I was on this project with you. Yeah. You don't remember me? Here's the picture with us in
where I'm actually with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like a cheat code to kind of start the networking process of if you don't know how to break the ice. Yeah, cool. Who was on this project? That type of thing. So stuff like that, little things.
So what year
Great
was it?
Advice.
Yeah, it's good advice. What year was it when you started with Wynkoop I get ballpark. Do you remember about when it was?
I say it was, I want to say 07. I think he says 08 or vice versa. But I've been doing it for like 17, 18 years, something like that. Okay. So we have a difference of opinion when that particular project came out.
Okay. So you've been doing it for a while, but it sounds like you weren't always acting, or at least not in film. I don't know if you did theater or whatever. Was acting always something you wanted to do? Or was just one day you're like, you know what? I want to try something.
Well, it was kind of like, it was something I wanted when I was younger. I think I took like an acting class in, I want to say high school, it might have been school. But it's one class had us do a scene from A Raisin in the Sun. Didn't pursue it though. Like I said, comic books were my first love, so that was really where I was going. And then as I got older, like I said, going to comic book conventions and stuff like that, Joel was always there.
Gotcha.
So I think Chris Woods made the official introduction, was another filmmaker. And he was like, hey, listen, if anything's coming up, this guy wants to be in something. Mm-hmm. And then so that got me my foot back into it. And then from there, I've done a little bit of theater, done, like I said, mostly film work. And then, like I said, I think 8 or 9 times with Joel. He's been in some of my films as a character named Detective Bruce Holmes, which actually we're doing a feature film called Baker Actor right now with him.
Okay, I think I saw the post up about that. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm about to do Amityville Crime Boss with him next month, I believe. Where I'm a character in his film. So,
and you guys are you doing that for SRS? I think I saw that he posted.
I believe that one's for S. I believe so. Yeah, I believe that one's for SRS. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So, so you find like it's like the networking and everything. Is there anything about like when you like any kind of certain types of characters you prefer playing over others, or is it kind of like anything goes?
I'm kind of typecast as the big tough guy because I'm a big tough guy, but I'm also fun.
But you also give across also like big / teddy bear vibes. Like you give nice guy vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I could be both, but people usually go with the visual. So a lot of times if people reach out to me, I need a mafia boss. So I need the tough guy next to the mafia boss, that type of thing. So and I don't have a problem with that. But I like it when they give me something against the grain, so to speak. So when they say, hey, listen, I need you to be the father in this, so I need you to bring this emotion out. Then it's more fun because I get to stretch my wings a little bit.
Cool. So, go ahead, Tyson. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I love that you say your favorite part about this is the networking thing, and specifically that you kind of started your relationship with Wynkoop at a con, because Joel, how many times have we said that too? Back when I was doing cons and stuff for writing, and that's what's interesting is that you're a writer and a creative guy, but so many of those people, when I would see them at conventions, a lot of them are really introverted, despite putting themselves and their work out there. They don't mind putting their work out there, but when it comes to like networking and
connecting,
shaking hands and connect, a lot of them are just kind of buried in their notebooks or whatever at their table, and they might sign a piece if somebody comes up, but I didn't see a lot of that going on. And I was the same way, man. And that's the thing. If there's anything to be gleaned from this for folks that are watching that are maybe wanting to get into it, is go to conventions. There are so many opportunities. And Joel, I mean, even you starting this channel,
that's
how many
we
times
met.
did we just,
we met at Sci-Fi Bar.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. And I would venture to say I was probably the only guys that walked from the other side of his booth and was out there carnival barking.
It's funny. Exactly.
Talking to people,
I remember, because that was around 2018, right? It was 2018.
Something like that.
February of 2018, I think. And have you ever done Sci-Fi Bartow, Ken?
I think I went like once or twice, but I haven't been in years.
It's fun, dude. It's fun. It's like a farmer's market for geeks, man. It's so much fun. It's getting bigger, dude. How many? Didn't they have like 20,000 people or something, Tyson?
Yeah, there was a ton.
Yes, because it's free. It's one day. It's free. It's outside. Usually the weather's nice. It's February.
Yeah.
And so I remember whenever I go to these things, a lot of times, especially artists, creatives, that kind of thing. I'm one of those people who, if I pass your table and you engage me, there is like a 98% chance, especially if we connect on any level, I'm buying something from you. You know what I mean? Like I can't like walk away, be like, oh, it's nice to meet you. Now, every once in a while, it might be something I just don't want, but if it's something I remotely would want, or even as a gift for somebody else.
I smelled the rube on you when you walked
you did.
by.
I was a total rube. That's perfect way of putting it. I'm like a guilty rube. And
no, that's not true.
But basically, I remember with Tyson, because he was there with his friend John Catapano, who's also a writer, and they were actually, because Catapano is like this amazing, he's a monster kid, has like tons of stuff, he was selling that from his collection, and so we were looking, because my kids, especially my oldest, has always been into kaiju and Godzilla and stuff, and so we were looking, he had some Godzilla stuff, and then Tyson, I don't remember what you said first, dude, but I just remember you walked around, it was my shirt. Yeah, so wearing the
you're wearing
I was wearing Halloween 2018 shirt somebody had given me, and you said, oh yeah, you're a Halloween fan, and we started and we're like, ride or die buds now, like, you know what I mean? Like, but
and I appreciate, bought a book, but then it was like, hey, I have this podcast if you want to come on and promote your stuff. And the cool thing about Joel is that, he follows up with you when you say that, and then flash forward. But that, I mean, that's just one example. And Ken, I'm sure you can attest to this, just everybody knows somebody that knows somebody and my world has basically been around horror and indie horror and stuff. But I think even just Hollywood in general, I'm not even just talking about B-movie horror world here, but it's a small community, really.
Yeah. Well, Hollywood's incestuous.
It doesn't take a whole lot of 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon to meet somebody that can give you a shot at working on stuff. But the point of this story is you got to be willing to talk to people, shake some hands,
and I've done it on both sides. I kind of feel for the fan walking by. So I'm with you on that, Joel, but also you as well, Tyson, where it's kind of like when you go, because I'll even go to conventions and I'll tell people, hey, listen, I'll be at the table, talk to them, whatever. We started engaging, people come up, oh no, hey, listen, I know this person. Go on and talk to them and present your stuff, or I'll even help try to sell them stuff. Just because of the fact that I know that it's about engagement. And when I would have, when my studios do conventions, so I'd be on that side of the table, I'd have to remind my artists all the time, listen, look up, say hi. And they're like, oh, but I'm finishing. I'm like, I understand, but we're here. You can do that at home, but you can't engage at home.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to present your wares, but also present yourself. Because they're really buying it because you don't know what you're selling.
Yeah, it's exhausting, isn't it, brother? That's the other thing that I tell. Like if you're gonna work a con and do more than just peddle your wares, I mean, you got to be prepared where
you're on. You got to be on
socially, emotionally, mentally. Yeah, man. Sunday night, you're gonna be dead because you're gonna be. I mean, it's nonstop. You're gonna be willing and talking. And the key is, man, Monday, go through that stack of business cards and your notes. Or I always email myself on my phone, and follow up with those people because you never know
exactly
what's gonna, the opportunities that are gonna come your way from that.
Especially if you do like an email list or something, they want to hear something from you. They didn't sign up for nothing, so you definitely want to reach out to them.
True.
Say, hey, thank you for stopping by. Hope you like whatever you purchased. Please follow us on blah, blah, blah. Because social media is king these days. So you definitely want to put it out there, and be engaged.
Yeah. It's funny, but that idea too, like Tyson talked about, like I followed up with them. That's one thing. Whenever I made a connection in a con with somebody who I thought, and a lot of times I'd invite somebody to the show, and then what I usually do is like by the end of the con or on my way home or once I get home, I'd send them a message. I try to get like some way of either their email or something, send them a message, say, hey, cool meeting you. again, I'd love to have you on the show, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of leave the ball in their court because, not everybody wants to do it. I get that. And this is before I had a YouTube channel. This is just an audio-based podcast. And Tyson was like, yeah, man, I'd love to come on. And, I think, do we have you on to cover a movie at first? I don't remember if it was an interview or just more like a movie thing, I think.
It was, it was Retro Movie Geek. We were just.
Yeah, I had a show called Retro Movie Geek. And I think it was something. But honestly, I don't remember half the movies we covered. So let alone what the first one was.
But the point is, yeah, we made a connection. You followed up, and then it turned into this, that, and the other, and mom and pop video shop, and
yeah, man,
exactly.
Well, and I think too, just on a personal note, my very first con was Spooky Empire in 2011. It was when it was it was still pretty small, right? And I went with my buddy Jason Grooms, who I started podcasting with, my very first podcast called Forgotten Flicks that became Retro Movie Geek, 2010. So this was 2011, first con I ever went to, and I had Bruce Campbell was there, who was one of my like gotta meet that guy list, top 3, and I had such intense social anxiety. And I love this because my buddy Jason pushed me. He's like, man, look, they're just people. You just talk, we'll be all right. And so doing that, it flipped the switch. And then and it's almost like, then I went out of my way to help it's like exposure therapy. I would every con I went to, anybody I met, hey, want to be on a show? I would just ask, because I realized the worst thing someone's going to tell you, even if they're famous, is no. That's the worst thing good. You know what I'm saying? Or I got in the habit of trying to ask. It was before Cobra Kai came out at MegaCon, around 2017, I guess. William Zabka, Johnny, and I want to say Danielson, Ralph Macchio were there, and it was there was nobody in their line, man. I'm sure if you went now, it would be a mile long. There was nobody. My kids were small, and I'm like, boys, this is a crime. There is nobody in the lines of either Daniel or Johnny. This is BS. So we met him, and I figured, you know what? I can ask him for a drop. Now, Macchio, very nice, and I get where he was coming from. He told me it was one of those man, if I do it for you, I kind of got to do it for everybody. At which point I could have turned around there was nobody standing there. but his point still was valid. He had every right to it. William Zabka, however, my boy Johnny is the greatest 80s bully of all time. Zabka always played the best bullies. But that is this, he was the nicest guy. Not only did he do a drop for me that I still cherish to this day, but he took all 3 of my kids, who were still pretty small at that point, and he's for a picture, he's all right, guys, get in a karate pose. And he was it was they were being trained by Johnny. Dude, I was over the moon. But again, had I not...
Super energy.
Yeah. I never, if I hadn't asked, none of that would have happened. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, you got to engage, you got to connect, even if it feels uncomfortable, you just got to do it.
Yeah. In fact, I just met, not just met, a couple years ago at, I want to say it was MegaCon, it might have been a different convention, but Timac from The Last Dragon.
Oh, and, nice.
So like you said.
Show enough. I know he didn't say that.
That's an iconic line. But yeah, you got to get a picture with him. So I saw him there, no line, kind of like what you're saying. So I didn't ask for a drop or anything, but I was like, I got to get a picture with him. And I was like, well, how about maybe working together in a future film? And he's like, yeah, talk to my manager. Yeah, I'll be, I'm open for it as long as it's something decent. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, you never know where it's going to go. And I haven't followed up on that yet because I have to get a film with a budget.
Yeah, I know, I got you. Yes, that would be the catch.
I'm definitely going to reach out to him. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I can really. It's funny, man. I don't know how you, because obviously you work a lot in the world of micro budget cinema, right? So I think it's funny. When I was younger, in my early 20s, I was an aspiring filmmaker. Made some shorts, made one feature, and all that. And I had an idea in my head, I wanted to be like Spielberg 2.0, I had in my head, I want to be a big dog, whatever. But as I got older and, life happened, family, put all that, put away childish things, so to speak. In the last few years, partly, I should thank him, but also partly to blame Tyson, as we've done the channel and I've gotten back into doing some, indie filmmaking stuff. What I'm realizing and this is a Joel thing, what I love about micro budget stuff, you can't necessarily get any kind of big name or even like smaller name if they require SAG minimum or something. But there's just this from an artistic perspective, like just from a creativity perspective, man, it's total freedom. Like it's you don't have to answer to nobody. You know, because when you got dollars attached, it's like anything else. And even if it's not that much dollars, if it's someone else's money, they'll be like, hey, what are you doing with my money? And I get it.
They were asking,
and I get it. If somebody gave me $50,000 to make a movie, and it wasn't like crowdfunding, it was like their money, and they're like, I'm producing this, but I want to know where my money went. I want to see. I feel I have a responsibility to that person, even at that price, which I realize even in the world of movies is next to nothing. But point still stands. It's a lot of money, and I get that. But at the same time, there's something about like, if you on your own can raise just a couple $1,000s and make something, find some cool people that are just wanting opportunities. You may pay for their gas and a little something, but they're just you give them some food, but everybody's happy and just wanting to be creative. Like that's why I love talking to like micro budget indie filmmakers and stuff, because there's something about that spark and that vibe. Like everybody always talk about AI and Hollywood and blah blah blah. The fact is, movies aren't going to die, because there'll always be people who want to just make movies. If all you want to do is type in a prompt into AI, that's not filmmaking. That's prompt writing. Although, and by the way, Tyson, the idea hit me the other day, and it's not like it's some genius move, but it hit me. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, and the only way you can get AI to remotely give you anything is to type out words, how many words are you going to have to type out for each picture? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Why not just shoot the damn picture?
Yeah. Well, it's also a matter of, in that case, is like, what do you call creativity? Like, if you have an idea, AI, while I haven't used it, it's not bad for fleshing it out.
No,
but when it comes out to the final product, it's more satisfying to say, okay, I got this team together. Whether you're
100%,
a savant and you can do it all, or if you say, let me just pull together some great actors and let me get a good crew together. Because a good editor, for instance, can make a bad film look good, but a bad editor can make a great film look bad. But every member of the team is important and vital to making the final product look good, whether you have $1,000 budget or $100,000 budget or $100 billion budget.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny you say that too about the AI thing. I love using AI to because I'm one of these people where I get so many ideas and it can be very scattered. So using it to help me organize or figure certain things out or dig deeper into a concept, which then generates more ideas from me. It's, in my opinion, horrible if you go in and say, write me a horror movie based on blah, blah, blah. It's going to be hot trash.
Yeah.
But you're like, I've got this weird idea. It's just a fragment. Like a lot of times with me, it's like fragments. Like I get an image or I get a moment, and it's like, okay, but I how can I maybe connect that? Because it's basically a pattern recognizing machine. It can help you see that. And it's like, for that, to your point, it's great for that. It's not great for a lot of other stuff, in my opinion, but to each his own. I do want to ask you, speaking of art and creativity and indie, I know comic books are your thing, big time. So tell us a little bit about your comic book company. Tell us about when you got into that and what that looks like.
Yeah, so I started doing comics when I was a kid, actually, young kid, I guess, because I'm still a grown ass kid. But but I started doing it. Started putting out my own books, which were basically photocopies after I drew them, stapled together. Hey, I've got a new book. And then I got into high school. Did it with a friend of mine named Gary Dresdensky, who has been doing comic books in a while, but got him to go to Tampa Bay Comic Con recently. But anyway, so we did a couple together, still the staple version. Then I did one called The First Solo Shots, which was when I was in, I think, high school. And I went to, I think it was Sir Speedy, got it printed up. So I had my first official printed, not just copies, book. And then I switched from that, I think I called it New Era. I was an artistic license student yet. So I did New Era, then I think there was a detergent came out. It came out, and I was like, oh, well, we're not going to use that name anymore. So I switched to Artistic License Studio. We kind of built a unified front and bring other people together. So I used that to do solo shots, revived that, Predatory Ways. So solo shots was really anything goes. More superheroes, but really anything goes. Predatory Ways, more vampires, but anything that goes bump in the night. So those two anthologies, we did a couple other books from the other creators in the studio. And then in 2011, I started doing the film studio because of the Action Film Challenge by Daniel Brienza. And so we did Way the Vigilante was the first one, but did it under AR 235, which is Marcus Kempton's film, who I'm doing Baker acted with also. So he started this. Well, he picked a studio name because you had to have a team name for the challenge. And so we had the Vigilante, where I wrote the story. I created Detective Bruce Holmes, the Vigilantes, and everything there. And then 2011, I want to say that was Survival Instinct, which was my first vampire short that I did, and then just built off of that. So I did probably like 6 or 7 different films for the challenge. Then he stopped the challenge, and I just kept going from there. So now I do comic books and film through the studio, which I'm kind of behind on both, but I'm going to start catching up on it again.
Cool. That's cool. So what was it like? You said you got into it since you were a kid. What was it specific? Was there a moment? Was there just, you saw something, you just, No,
just drawing my whole life. I mean, I love Batman. My favorite character is Batman. But I mean, I started just drawing as a kid. I see stuff. My older cousin, Joseph, we called him Jojo back then. He was drawing in the comic book, so he kind of helped guide me on that part a little bit. He was trying to get me to see the genius behind Jack Kirby's art style, which I couldn't appreciate then. I can now. But it's kind of like, it's just blocky. Like, no, you have to understand the structure and the way he did. I'm like, yeah, it's still blocky. But I learned it as I got older. And then, like I said, I really just started from drawing then and story concept building. And then also because comic books live in a bigger than life world, it helped me get more into science and stuff because I like this Fantastic Four and parallel Earths and all that stuff. Well, the love of that came from comic books, That's so nice. And then it's built from there. Just started drawing my own characters eventually, and then eventually, like I said, got to I think middle school when I started doing the staple copies of books, and it just built like gradually the whole time more. So, but like I've been drawing my whole life and writing my whole life for the most part.
Oh, that's cool. So you mentioned obviously Batman is your favorite. Do you have a favorite Batman movie?
I'm a Michael Keaton junkie, so my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. The favorite movie will be when him and Tim Burton first created it, so Batman '89. That was
gotcha.
My favorite movie, yeah.
Gotcha.
My man.
There you go. We're on the same page, obviously.
I've had many drunken army brawls on who the true Batman, only Batman is. And I'm usually dying on that hill alone, by the way. So.
I assume you and I are in the ballpark of a similar age. So I too am a massive fan of the '89 Batman. I will say, as a movie, Dark Knight, I rewatched it not that long ago. It's like friggin' phenomenal. Like it's so damn good but there's something about, and I honestly, Batman Returns, I hadn't watched that in a long time. I watched it with one of my kids. That I really dig that movie. It's really beautiful and just, it's great.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Matter of fact, a couple of issues I have. I mean, the best thing about it was outside of Michael Keaton was Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
I was going to say, if Michelle Pfeiffer had that outfit for sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But then Billy D. Williams did. He was trying to be Two-Face, and so when they did the third one, Val Kilmer, they gave it to Tommy Lee Jones, who did for what he was given, did an awesome job.
He did, but you took out Billy, dude. That was BS. I know. You know what's funny? When I was young, so here's full disclosure. I growing up, my cousin had a massive comic book collection. I actually remember going with him to this tiny comic book store in Winter Haven, Florida, that was like part of a strip mall, and him buying when Dark Knight Returns, right? That was the one, right? The Frank Miller one. It just come out like in '86. Was that about right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember being when I was like 10, and I remember like looking at it. He's like 5 years older than me, so I remember looking at it like what? I was all freaked out because I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, what? I should be seeing this.
Right.
What's that word?
What am I? Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm just gonna say.
Finish your thought.
The thing is, like Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, I always loved. And I was never like my buddies Peter and Daryl that I do Retro Movie Geek with. They are like Daryl especially, like massive Peter too, massive comic book guys. Like they know, they're like, oh, and this artist did this and I am not that. I was more of a Mad Magazine, Cracked Magazine kind of kid. You know what I'm saying? So,
gotcha.
But I always have had a deep appreciation for it as an art form, as an entertainment, and that kind of thing. But there was somewhere I was going with that thought, and I completely lost it because I'm old. Go ahead, Tyson.
We're talking about Batman.
I do that. Yes, I know. It'll come back to me eventually. Go ahead, Tyson.
For me, it was I as a kid, I never realized there were like horror comics. I mean, let me take that back. I knew about like EC and Creepy Tales and stuff like that from the 50s, but like early 90s, that era. And my first Batman comic I ever got into, I want to say it was like an 8-episode run of Batman versus Predator. And I opened it up, I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I'm getting Alien Mags, and then, flash forward to 10 years ago where I got back into comics, and then there's some fantastic horror comics out there. Basically, most of the stuff Dark Horse put out. But yeah, I was always like, man, I don't want to be one of those comic geeks. I don't care about Superman or Batman or Spider-Man or any of these. And then you start getting all these kick-ass horror crossers and stuff. And you're like,
I love Superman, but it was more because of Christopher Reeve in the movies than it was the comics for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what it was. It was Billy D. That was what I was going to address. When I was a kid, I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I was like 13. Good Lord. I think I was about 13 because 89, right? So 13. I was about 13 when that came out. So I remember, I knew Billy D was. That's freaking Lando. But I remember, Lando's in this movie, but I didn't know enough about Batman. Like I knew the surface. I knew Batman was. I knew Robin was. I knew the Joker was. Stuff like that. But Two-Face I'd heard of, but I didn't know that the Harvey Dent connection, because I never read it, so I didn't know. So for me, I hear Harvey Dent. I was like, oh, okay, he's like the politician or whatever. And then when Tommy Lee Jones took it over, I think it was my buddy Dan, maybe, my good friend Dan, who had acted in some of my stuff, but he was a comic book guy. I think he maybe, I could be remembering this wrong, is the one that said, oh, that's, Harvey Dent, too, that's Billy D. I was like, why'd they get rid of Billy D? Why would you get rid of Lando? What the hell, man? Exactly. I know it got taken over by Schumacher, and it's like a totally different thing. Batman Forever, I do like aspects of. Batman and Robin is hilarious. My kids, I was so proud. My kids watched it several months ago, and actually, Sci-Fi Bartow, we went to this last February. And we're walking around, and this dude is straight up dressed like Mr. Freeze in that movie. But it's where he's got the bathrobe on, and then he's walking around with a cigar.
Yes.
And it was and my youngest, who's 15, goes, Dad, he got elbows me. He goes, Dad, I think he's Mr. Freeze from the Batman and Robin movie. And they had just seen it a week before. I was like, and we went up to this guy, and I was like, hey, man, I haven't seen that movie since it came out. I worked at the movie theater. I don't remember anything. I'm like, hey, quick question. It's like, are you Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin? He's like, nobody ever gets that. I was like, my 15-year-old just did. He was so impressed. He's like, wow, kid, got it. I was like, yeah, man.
Those are my favorite, man. The more obscure the cosplay, the better.
That is fun. Yeah, it is fun.
Well, I mean, people they love their memories. And so when you're cosplaying something, especially with something older, you're like, this is my favorite memory. I want to be this regardless.
Yeah.
But when somebody recognizes it, you're like, oh, you touched my heart. I think it's something it means more
it's
to
a
them.
bond. It's like a connection. Yeah, it's a connection you have with that person.
At Sci-Fi Bartow this year, Joel, I think I sent you the picture. There was the guy walking down the street, and he was dressed as one of the 3 Storms from Big Trouble in Little China. The big hat. Yeah, he was badass. I'm like, dude, I love the 3 Storms. Can I get a picture with you? He's like, yeah. And then he looks at me. He's like, man. He's like, I really dig your Billy Jack cosplay too. Because I had
Billy Jack.
Yeah, I was just wearing a flat brim. It's just something I wear when I go to cons in a black
T-shirt.
You
do look like Billy Jack when you're wearing it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm Billy Jack. I'm like, I'll take it. And then I had cocktails that night and ordered a legit Billy Jack hat. So.
What was that, Ken? What did you say, Ken?
No, I was just saying, that wasn't the intent when I did it, but yeah, I'll be that.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, he'll go around kicking ass for hippies.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's what Billy Jack did. All right. So I want to make sure. Okay. What of all the movies you worked on? You obviously don't have to be specific because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. You don't even have to answer this question. But was there any production? Or I would say it that way. Let me say it this way: was there anything that you ever did that felt difficult? Were there any specific moment? And maybe it's for you. Maybe something you needed to do that you just was hard for you to do from an acting perspective, or it was a hard production to do just because maybe the nature of what it was. Is there any memories like that?
So it's not on the acting side per se. The only thing I really say I can't do is Crown Command. I haven't gotten that down yet.
Onions.
But this, well, yeah, people were like, I put this in my eye and all. I'm like, I'm not doing any of that.
Rub a little onion oil under each eyeball, man. Be like, ooh.
Ken's a purist. If he can't get the waterworks to flow naturally,
I have to pull it from inside. Cheating. Method acting.
Exactly.
Oh, no, I had one film I was on. I don't think it ever came out actually. But the guy who was doing it, he tried to shoot like a syringe, like water in my eye, and so it's a funny scene because he's trying to shoot it so it lands on time. When he says action, like that's not working.
Yeah.
But the thing that's true, so like when I've done my own stunts, which for indie level, you really do your own stuff. There's been times when I've like fallen, like I was doing a fight scene. The guy's supposed to hit me, and then and I get back ready to fight, and I think I slipped and fell. Ooh. And they're like, "That's it, that's the one." And they use it in the film. I'm like, really? That's what we're gonna go with.
But, or even worse is when they say, "That was great, that's the one." Can we get one more for safety? Can we just get one more take of you falling and busting your coccyx?
Yeah, I was just telling somebody who's new to film last weekend, and they were like, yeah, when you hear that's perfect, one more time, one more for safety. I'm like, that's probably the most annoying thing you'll hear. It's necessary for film and you understand it, but when you think you got it right, especially when you're new to it, you're like, why am I doing this again? No, you said it was perfect.
Yes, I do. I personally, and I used to not be this way, trust me, I try to subscribe to the 2 takes and 3 if there's a technical screw up on one of the first 2. So like first take is like do it, the way it is in the script and what we've rehearsed or whatever. The second take would be like if you want to try something else, like if we've got the bandwidth for that. And the third take is if something got jacked up, like the boom mic was in the shot or something got better. Yeah. That'd be it. But that's it. Like that's it. One more. That's it.
I think you gotta take some credit for that too, Joel. And we've only worked on a few projects, and my knowledge, Ken, of the movie making world is about I am a babe in the woods. Literal sense of the. No, I am. I mean, seriously, I don't have much experience, but from what I've seen of you working with people, you're super organized. I mean, you've got a shot list. You explain everything, and so not that you don't welcome or encourage folks to improv and think outside the box, but at least to start with, that's why there's not a whole lot of we're just going to roll whatever you think. You know what I mean? I mean, you're really, really good about laying out in your mind what you're looking for. And I just think that's why, when you say we're going to go out and, we're going to start shooting at 6 and be done by 10 o'clock tonight, I mean, how many times does that happen where at 9:30 you're wrapping shit up because
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's what I respect about you. I think just from an organization standpoint.
To be fair, Ken, that was the first night shoot I've done in God knows how long, and I'm a person who gets up at like 5:30 in the morning. So like the whole time I'm like, we gotta get this done, man. I gotta drive home. I don't do well. I used to be a night owl, not anymore. But that being said, however, to your point though, I appreciate that, Tyson. But I will say, I like the opportunity now. Like we did a candle commercial for Tyson as a horror themed candle company, and so it's kind of like an old fashioned, like almost like a silent film kind of vibe, in the commercial. And for something like that, I had a shot list, but we ended up having not throw it out, but I had to seriously adapt real quick. I like having the list and then realizing, okay, throw it all out the window. Now we got to try something else. And that's the thing with like improvising in general. Like there's a guy, I mentioned him actually on the last interview I did, named Joel, good name, Haver. And he has got a YouTube channel with like 2 million subscribers on it. And he does indie, micro budget, sometimes zero budget feature films with him and some of his friends. And some of them were like an hour and a half long, and some of them were almost completely improvised.
Oh, wow.
Completely. Like they have a concept, maybe like like they know some of the beats they would hit, but it is like improvised. And there's something that, and a lot of them are really good. Like now they're very drama based. Like there's not like a lot of genre stuff. It's very like, more like slice of life kind of stuff. But from a filmmaking creativity standpoint, and he's also got these videos he does where he talks about the process that he does, and he's so like almost like he himself is very whimsical and just he's like, anybody could do this. Like you're a filmmaker too. Like it's like those guys you watch, you're like, yeah, hell yeah, yeah, we could do this too. And I there's something because I have that perfectionist tendency in me, and I know that. So I love the idea of working with actors especially and making them partners in that creative process so that they could bring something to the table too. I recently heard an interview with Tarantino, and he was talking about how for him, when he writes a script, he does his first table read with his actors. He doesn't give them any instruction, no direction, nothing, because he wants whatever they read and whatever they thought to come out. Because it might give him ideas that if he tells them from the jump, if he says to Samuel L. Jackson, okay, now we're reading for Jackie Brown and this character, I imagine he's gonna be wearing a beret and he's got this boisterous personality. If he tells him anything, he's not gonna bring to it what he did,
Yeah.
And so I think there's something about, and then once you do the read through or whatever, if you've got the benefit and the privilege of doing that, I think that you then can, as a director, like just get your little tweaks. Like, okay, well, try it like this, try it like that. But you now have in your mind what they were thinking, which if you tell them from the jump, you won't know. Because most people are not going to, like, if I go and I'm an actor and I'm with a director and they're like, this is what I want, well, then I'm going to try to do that. And even if they're like, so what do you want to do? I'm going to be like, well, whatever you want me to do, man.
Yeah. Well, that's also the difference between having like somebody is good at improv. Like a lot of Bruce Willis's stuff, especially for the Die Hard series, was him improv. I mean, the most famous line, "Yippee-ki-yay," was him improv. So
come out to the coast, get together, have a few laughs.
Exactly. But so some people aren't strong at that. So you kind of have to know, as a director, know who your actors are too.
Yes.
And then know where you can give that leeway. Like I like what you were saying about, and I do this too as I don't really direct, but producer writer. Hey, listen, give me a take of what I wrote. And then you can have a little fun if we have time for that. I really want to see what ideas you have, but I need what's on script first. When it gets down to editing, we have to kind of figure out the storyline. If you go too far off, now we're stuck. I like that premise, that directorial device, I guess I'll say, of doing it.
Yeah. So now go back to your comic books real quick. Are you currently, like, do you do cons and sell them at cons and show them and stuff like that?
I haven't done it in years. Yeah, I used to do it as part of the studio, TampaCon and MegaCon. Tampa Bay Comic Con technically is the name, and MegaCon. So we had a stable for a while. We did have the gallery up there. We did like 7 sketchbooks, we call them gallerias, for the studio. And then we had, like I said, the anthologies. And then the individual creators, sometimes they would actually put out their own books. We had like Divine Destiny. I want to say one was called Heart of Heroes, if I remember correctly, stuff like that. So we did the cons, we've been on that side of the table. I haven't done them in years because I have a lot of the older stuff. And I'm like, my attitude is, why would I pay for a table to present the same stuff I had years ago? So when I get some more new stuff out, I'll probably get a table again, but I haven't done so in a while. But I definitely plan on being on that side of the table again, just because it's a way of expression. So if I'm on the I'm gonna say fan side, just walking through, while I could talk to you about stuff I'm into or stuff that I've done, I can't share it with you in terms of selling it to you because I'm not in that position. I'm not behind the table selling what I have.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tyson, were you gonna say something, or was I? Because I don't want to not that I ever talk over you.
Not at all.
Never, not at all.
never happens. So when you do a lot of the indie projects, are you there for the duration oftentimes, for the whole production? Are you there like, okay, I'm maybe there 3 hours on a Saturday, that kind of thing?
It depends how much advance notice they give me so I can plan ahead. So because sometimes they'll be like last minute, oh, by the way, we need you Saturday. Well, here's the hours I have before I go to work. And so then I'm limited to them. But if they give me time enough to prepare, or if I can afford to take off from work, I'll be there the whole day, because sometimes even if my scene is done, I help behind the scenes, which I don't mind doing.
Sure.
I've only been on a couple of projects where they've said like, hey, Ken, you're an actor, don't do that. I'm like, but I can move the microphone here. I'm right here.
What is it, a union picture? What are we doing here? Wait.
No, it's indie stuff. I've only been on a couple of union projects, but it's indie stuff. And it's like, it really depends how organized they are, though. Like sometimes they're like, listen, we have a crew for a reason. Ken, you're the actor, just do actor stuff. Which very rarely happens, but usually it's kind of like all hands on deck. If you can help out with it, help out with it. Ken, can you hold this light? Can you move this over here? And I'm like, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Because I've done almost everything.
But see, by the way, that's why you have 114 plus credits. Seriously, because that attitude. I realize not every single movie you do that, but that attitude, especially like for somebody like my perspective, being like, because it's like usually when we were working on stuff, it's like me. I've got 3 teenage sons. That's my crew. Tyson. obviously. And then if there's you're the actors and they give, maybe there's like one or two other people who are just kind of helping out, but it's a tiny, almost family affair, right? So if anybody's willing to move something now, I get, like, especially on a union picture, I totally get why they legitimately, the Teamster or whoever have to move the thing. I get that, but most especially like micro budget, no budget type stuff. And I think on the flip side of that, probably, if I was making a feature and I hired, I'm just going to make up names here, but like Brink Stevens, or I hired, I hired somebody that's like a name. I don't, in my mind, think, well, I bet you Brink will stay back and, help me move lights.
Wait, are we hiring Brink Stevens?
I hope so. Someday.
What we said earlier about, that sometimes you just as far as working on projects and meeting connections, you just got to be willing to put it out there. And I feel like there's a lot of, and I've seen this on documentaries, show, we talk about this all the time. Dee Wallace and Lynn Shay come to mind. Like, if there's a project that you have a passion for and it's a kick-ass project, like, I don't think it's about the money for a lot of those people. Like, they'll look at it and be like, look, man, if
it's a good project,
for the 10 days you need, like I'll do this for practically nothing and bake cookies for the cast and crew on the side.
That's what you know what
I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of people that, especially, and I feel like a lot of seasoned folks that have had long careers that are now kind of like, hey, I've done the grind and the big, the big films and the I only work on projects that I want to work on, and I don't need the money. So, I just feel like that shouldn't scare you to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I wrote this part with you in mind. I understand if you, if our budget doesn't meet your, what you need. But I just think it goes back to, hey, it never hurts to toss it out there and just see,
Yeah. Ken, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I think a lot of times also when it's like Brink Stevens and like the screen queen, so to speak, is that I don't think they're a union, first of all, so they can do indie films like that. And then two is like, they're like, okay, well, I'll do a bare minimum because I like the respect that you're giving me. And it's like the interesting premise. So if you wrote this character for me and I'm like, I like the storyline of where it's going, they're more likely to do it. Because like I said, it's not about, they want to get paid, but it's not about money. As long as you meet their minimum requirement, it's like, I just want to be in a good project, especially if you have like somebody who's in the film with them. Like, I was in a film, one of my first feature films actually, As Night Falls, that Joe Davison put out, and Dwight. And so I think I can't remember if Brink Stevens was in that one or not, but they had like 4 or 5 different screen queens in that particular film. So it's kind of like they had the connection and they knew how to network to get her in or get the other ones in if they were in there. I'd have to check if she was in that job. I think she was. But like, it's all about who is the big part, the networking part of it we were talking about earlier. And then, do you know really what you're doing? Because also, if you get there and like you said, some of the directors are like, well, just do whatever you want. We'll make something work out of it. The actors who are at that level are going to be like, yeah, no, I'm good. Because we just wasted a whole day doing one scene. But if you go in organized, like you said, and they're like, okay, well, you're respecting my time. You're respecting what I bring to the table. They're more likely to do it, more apt to do it, especially your reputation goes along with that. So if they've heard, okay, he's a headache, don't do it, they're not going to do it. But he's a great guy, all that kind of stuff. It helps out.
It turns out the way you treat people, Ken, matters.
Exactly.
Who knew?
Go figure. Exactly.
I know. Weird, huh? But I
feel like that's one of the benefits too of doing like a micro budget, doing an indie thing. Joel, is like even the short projects that we try to come up with. We devote so much time ahead of time. We'll work 2-3. I mean, in this project we're working on, it's been 2-3 months where we've hashed out a 13-page script, but we've been planning stuff, and for what's going to end up being 10 or 12 minutes of screen time. But I feel like if you try to rush a project and then like at last minute, oh hey, we've got a cameo for you, we just thought we'd love to have you, and you could tell that it's just fan service. You know what I mean? I think that goes back to like, listen, we wrote this for you. We've taken some time to try to come up with character background and development, and if there's dialogue, it's not just hey, we want to cash in on your
yes. I want to put Brink Stevens above the title, even though you're in it for like 25 seconds. Ken said something earlier that this goes like back way earlier in the conversation about that idea of how you as an actor find it appealing when someone comes to you and says, hey, I don't want you to play the gangster heavy, crime guy, none of that. I want you to play this character that's an actual just character, and I think like with actresses and actors like, Brink Stevens and people like that, for me as a creative person, what I would love is to come up with something, write something that's actually not even necessarily like strictly genre. Like that, everything I do, I feel will always have horror elements. It might just be characters reading Fangoria in the background, but it'll always have some horror element because that's me. But yeah, I like movies that are just kind of weird, offbeat. And I think if you approach somebody like that who's so used to always getting probably very similar types of movies, and you say, hey, want to try something you never tried before, which is to play this character in this thing. It's more of a dramatic type of role. It's less, about, boobies or I love that I'm almost a 50-year-old man saying boobies.
Yeah. That's how I can tell this conversation we're going to have with Brink Stevens is going to go great. So
yeah, Brink. It's going to go wonderful. So needless to say, she will never talk to me.
Don't use the word boobies.
I will not. I promise. But anyway, I just think, Kim, when you said that earlier, like that really hit me. I'm like, I've always. Yeah, I love that idea of like you make a movie. Like I'm a huge fan of Napoleon Dynamite, right? And I love the idea like you make a movie like Napoleon Dynamite, but what if you cast it with people like you're just fan, like people that you love, like actors that were in all like these genre movies, maybe people that never went fully mainstream. You know what I mean? Like ultimately, like Tarantino does that. He has people in a lot of his films in parts that if you're a true movie fan, especially genre stuff, who, like Michael Parks. Yeah. A lot of people had no idea who Michael Parks was, and then he shows up in like From Dusk Till Dawn, and he's in a bunch of other stuff. And it's like, and it was, and I'm not saying it was because of those guys that he became known, but he was more known, I think, for like a lot of like genre stuff and B movies and things like that.
Specifically in horror, I know that Rob Zombie's kind of got this polarized, fan base, but I think he does the same thing with specifically horror. Folks that the Sid Haigs and the Bill Mosleys and those guys who had kind of fallen off the radar a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like, look, man, I'm a horror fan. You're the people, and and then all of a sudden they crack a couple big flicks, and now they're back on on top.
Yeah, you can revitalize them. That's like a lot of times I was talking the other day about with somebody. And I was saying a lot of the old 90s actors are now in the sci-fi movies and stuff like that. But really, they're just a big break away from it, from being back in that popular movie. But sometimes they just don't have access to it anymore. They're not the go-to people anymore. So they say, okay, we're still going to be active. But if we let any of them get like one big role again in the right movie, they're going to be like, okay, our prices went up again because now we're hot again.
Yeah. And I get that. I just think as a filmmaker and as a creative, I love the idea of working with people that I grew up with that in my mind are I don't care. Like, it's like, yes, I get in the world of Hollywood, this person at one point was on top or in the ballpark of on top. And now because Hollywood's all purely business. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a business. But in my like 14-year-old mind, right? It's like, like for instance, in my mind, he's still a huge actor, so I don't care. But like Wesley Snipes, like when I saw him as Blade, mild spoiler alert if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet. When I saw him as Blade, I get that he's older now. I do not give a damn. I was so happy. I was just so happy. Because to me, Wesley Snipes is Wesley freaking Snipes. Like, I get he's not an actor that's going to command, like what he did at one time. But God almighty, man. It's like
Drop Zone, bitch.
Drop Zone. Yes. Drop Zone is, it's fun. It's a fun movie.
Oh, yeah. New Jack City. I mean, he has a list of hits, but I mean, Blade, New Jack City.
Passenger 57. I love Passenger 57.
That one, White Man Can't Jump.
Oh, great movie. Love that movie.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about him is that he made sure he wasn't typecast into a specific role. That's actually Mark Keaton does the same thing. He's like, I'm not going to be typecast as one character. So I'm going to do multiple types of characters, multiple genres, so that I can be that actor that I really want to be versus being, I'm just going to do horror, I'm just going to do action, I'm just going to do one thing.
He started going that hero route and then did Demolition Man. How good was he in Demolition Man?
Oh, he was so great in Demolition Man.
Right?
He was like the best part of it, though. Like the movie as a whole.
You don't like that movie? Oh, I love that movie, dude.
Well, see, remember, because I was looking at it as, okay, you're doing a knockoff Judge Dredd. So the best part about the movie was Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
But it could have been so much better if they really went into it instead of just kind of, we know we're a knockoff. We're just going to have fun.
It's super cheesy at moments, but I still have a deep love and fondness for it, I admit. And maybe so we have something on this channel called C&D, which stands for Cinematic Nostalgia Disorder, which is when you love a movie from your youth, and you're not willing to admit in any way, shape, or form that's a great movie. What are you talking about? I'll fight you, man. There may be a little C&D for Demolition Man, but I don't care. I still love it. But yeah, man. So what other projects do you have going on? Do you have anything like any pokers in the fire? Anything you could talk about or can't talk about? That kind of thing.
I got a couple of voiceover gigs that I'm supposed to do this year.
Cool.
And then we're doing Baker Act that I mentioned earlier with
that's right. Yep.
Marcus Kempton and Joel Wynkoop. Just finished doing one called Chase, Date, Repeat. I think there's another one I'm supposed to be doing soon.
The Amityville one.
There you go, Amityville Crime Boss. So I'm in that with Joel. I need to get back to writing some of my own stuff. I'm going to do another one or another installment of the Survival Instinct series. So the first one, Survival Instinct,
cool.
And Portrait in Blood, which focused on my character, Marshall. And then I'm going to do whatever the next one's going to be. I haven't given it a name yet, but focusing on Marshall again. Cool. And also there is a couple of comic books I have to get back into it, get my feet wet again. So another sketchbook, but I've got pictures enough done for it. I just got to actually put it together. There's a public domain superhero story that I kind of did very minimum writing on this one, very minimal co-writing on it. The other guy named Michael, he did the majority of it, and then he got some artists on it. So I got to do a crowdfund for that. Okay. So yeah, there's always something in every genre. Plus, I'm gonna do like a poetry book and mixtape and all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
So I always got to have something that's creative to get out there.
And so where can people go? Is there anywhere they can go to find you or find your stuff or buy stuff from you? And
well, I have to get stuff back up to buy. But as far as just finding me and keeping up with stuff, Facebook is Ken Anthony II. Instagram, well, they all have my name on it, Ken Anthony II. But sometimes like if you're trying to search for it specifically, like some of it's my name backwards. So just search for Instagram, Ken Anthony II, TikTok, Ken Anthony II. I just got fan base. I haven't posted anything on it yet, though.
I don't even know what fan base is.
Isaac Hayes' son is
Really?
his social media. So he wants one, so you can actually invest in it. I'm not investing in it, at least not right now. I'm not trying to put it down if you have money to do it. But but you can invest in it. I think it's like $400 to buy into it. But it's his social media platform. And so it's supposed to be, I haven't yet used it yet. I just created the account the other day. But it's supposed to be something where you can get to monetize your material better. Okay. So like I said, I haven't really looked at it yet. Just a friend of mine who's on it. Like, yeah, you should do it. I'm like, well, it's just another avenue, because MySpace is gone now. Although I think MySpace is still up, but nobody uses it.
I think I haven't. I looked a while, like a couple years ago. I looked. I was like, is it really still? I was like, oh, it's still there. Okay.
Because Justin Timberlake tried to co-sign it to get.
I remember that. Yeah.
So, but I'm on pretty much everything to search for Ken Anthony II, and you can find my stuff or Artistic License Studio, and you can see the books that we had. Like, I'm gonna start doing some new books and films, all that stuff we posted on there on pretty much all the platforms.
Nice, cool. All right, so Tyson, do you have any other questions for Mr. Anthony?
No, this has been great. I mean, Ken, thanks so much for stopping by and talking about your experiences. And again, I always say I know it's been a good interview when I get motivated to create and do things. And I mean, Joel, I don't know about you, but just chatting with Ken, let's go make a movie, man.
Yeah, Because usually when Tyson talks to me, he just falls asleep. So
yeah, it's like, dude.
I've got an idea.
Right. Oh, another one.
Yeah. Oh, great. Gee, are you changing the script
thanks for coming
again?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So, Ken, thank you again for being here, sir. I really enjoyed talking to you. It was really cool. And remember, at Mom and Pop's, our love of,
in this case, Ken Anthony II, of Batman, and of just great creativity and great projects in general for comics, film, and anything else. Pursue being yourself.
Never, ever stops.
But specifically 1989 Batman.
Exactly.
Mom and Pop